I'm Monica.
So yeah, we're occupational therapy students at the U of M. We are in our second year. Has anybody heard of occupational therapy or gotten occupational therapy at all?
Nope.
No? Okay. So occupational therapy is helping people to do the things that are meaningful to them. So this can be things like things that are productive. So work, taking care of your baby, things you do for leisure. So anything you do to have fun or your hobbies, and then self-care. So like showering, brushing your teeth, or just like doing things to take care of your mind and your body. So if there's something that's stopping you from being able to do that, then we kind of help you to build the skills to do that or adapt your environment in a way that will enable you to do those things.
Yeah, so a lot of OT is working with the skills and abilities that you have in the here and the now. So a lot of OT services can work in like schools and daycares, being like consultants, and working, like, for example, in the Rehab Center for Children at HSC, through school districts. And so we can help get like funding for students or for schools if they need for any physical or cognitive deficits that students and children may have. Recommendations for classroom setups and like milestone toys to help them progress and to meet these developmental milestones, as well as just working in like hospitals, again, working on all those like feeding, toileting, dressing, all those kinds of, we work really close hand in hand with a lot of physiotherapists and speech language pathologists, and work with parents and caregivers and other members of a healthcare team. So, and yeah, like Ali said, it's a 2 years master's program. So we completed a 3 or 4 year undergrad before this, and now we're just in our final year. So we're here on a placement, and today we're going to be talking about parenting ergonomics so that you don't hurt yourself while caring for your baby.
Yeah, one of the really great things about occupational therapy is that we work with the client who can either be you or your child, but then we work with their family and their support system as well. We don't want to just like focus on one aspect of a person. We want to make sure that everything is working together as a whole. So if something's going on with your baby and you need help with that, we're also going to work with you to make sure that you're at your best so that you can give the best care you need for your baby. So yeah, like Monica said, we're just going to talk about ergonomics, which is like proper form and taking care of your body when you're like lifting and doing things like that. We want to make sure that you're not injuring yourself when you're taking care of your child.
Because in order to get the best care for your child, you need to take care of yourself as well. So starting off just with like a couple statistics, starting off is about 66% of parents actually report experiencing some form of pain or injury while caring for their children. Therefore, learning proper formation of how to like lift or carry or move things around is really important so that you can make sure that you don't get injured yourself. A lot of the most common diagnoses are like lower back strain, shoulder or wrist tendonitis or swelling, as well as carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, nobody ever thinks about it. When you're lifting your baby up like this, you're putting a lot of strain on your thumb, so you can have injuries there. And I'm sure none of you are immune to the back pain that comes with parenting. So we're going to address that a lot and just kind of talking about different ways that you can take care of yourself. So I don't know what your schedule looked like before compared to now with COVID, but I'm sure you guys are all at home a lot playing with your kids. And a lot of the time that means you're on the ground with them. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body when you're doing that. It can be really hard to be bending over all the time and straining your back. So again, you want to make sure that you're not bending at the hips for a prolonged period of time. If you're playing with your kid and you're sitting on the floor, try leaning with your back against the wall. This will just provide you a little bit of support, and you can kind of focus on keeping your shoulders back so you're not slouched over, because that can be really hard on you. So try sitting instead of crouching beside them if you're going to be there for a longer period of time. Another option is to get a shorter chair so that you're closer to their height. So I'm sure the chairs at the center weren't the most comfortable thing for you, but thinking of like a short stool that can kind of get you down to their height a little bit easier. So we also want to think about how we're lifting your kid. So I'm going to give you a little example, but basically this is a lift that helps you to use your legs instead of your back a little bit more. So I don't have a kid here, so I'm going to pretend this pillow is the kid, but when you're lifting up your kid, you want to bend at your knees. So you're going to have one foot or one knee on the ground. And I don't think you can see it, but you want your foot that has your knee up to be right beside your kid, and then your knee beside your kid as well. So they're kind of like in between you. And then you're going to bend down with keeping your back straight. Back straight is always the most important part. And you're going to kind of slide your kid up and bring them in close to your stomach. And then like leaning forward, you want to look ahead and slowly raise up. So with this, I'm always making sure that the power is coming from my legs. When you're bending over at your hips all the time, it's just creating a lot of strain that it may not hurt each time you do it, but it'll kind of build up over time. Does that kind of make sense to you guys?
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have any questions?
And just kind of adding on to that too, it's really important, that piece that Ali mentioned of bringing your baby like really close to you and then standing up, because if like you're still holding your baby out here, it basically puts more strain on your back because your center of gravity has now moved because you're holding your baby out here. So if you hold your baby close and then start to stand up, it puts a lot less strain on your back and it just uses the muscles that are in your legs.
Yeah, exactly. So it just puts more strain on your shoulders and your back, and it almost feels lighter when you're holding them against you. So, and then I don't know if you guys have older kids at home or this will apply as your kids get older, but the same applies for lifting a toddler. But when you're bending down to pick them up, they can start to do a little bit of the work. So you want to kind of get them to hug you a little bit so that they can help stay close to your body, and it's not just all you doing the work. This lift was actually designed for uneven objects that can move when you're holding it. So it works perfectly for kids that are squirming and making it even more difficult on you.
Yeah, so now that you have your child up and you're holding your child, it's really important to keep your shoulders and your hips and your knees kind of just in line with each other. This helps keep your center of balance and your midline on your body. So instead of kind of holding your child off to one side, like on your hip, like with one arm, it's really important, especially if you are already starting to feel some like pain, like in your shoulders and your wrists and stuff. If you hold your child in front of you, it allows you to keep your wrists more straight, so you're not bending them in a weird way and getting that sort of repetitive strain from doing that. So when you're moving around while holding your child, try not to twist your body while you're like, if you have to like look at something over there, it's a lot better just to move your entire body, like moving your feet over, because otherwise you can get those like small like nerve pinches in your back from like when you're twisting, because you're also holding something heavier as well. And kind of transitioning from that, a lot of parenting involves a lot of toys and a lot of storage. So it could be toys, clothes, anything extra that you need. Storage is really important so you don't become overwhelmed with everything. So heavy boxes of clothes or diapers or toys or anything that's the heaviest should be stored in like a closet or a shelf that's mostly at your waist height. Because storing items too high can hurt your shoulders when you're trying to take them down or put them back up because of that weight and stress on it. As well as storing really, really heavy items too low can actually cause back pain or back strain because you're bending down in a weird way to try to pull it back out afterwards. Many people think that, heaviest goes on the bottom. But for your own personal body mechanics and body carrying, it's really good to keep it at the waist height, so it's just remaining on the same level, so you just have to pull it towards you and you already have it in that position that you can carry it, move it somewhere else. So those are the things that we have, just some quick ideas that we've created that are simple that you guys can start to transition into your life if you're not already even doing them. As well as Ruth emailed out, but I know that some of you guys didn't get the email fully. We created a handout that has all this information on it, so you can always refer back to it at a later time or just reread anything that we had mentioned to you today. We also included a couple informational YouTube videos that you guys can watch that talks about certain ways to carry a baby car seat, as well as how to lift a baby in and out of a crib in a way that, again, is like less strainful on your shoulders and your back. So you guys can always feel free to go click those YouTube links that we have provided there and for just more information.
Yeah, and then just one more quick note. Another thing that I'm sure everybody's trying to get out and take their kids for walks, which means lots of pushing a stroller, which is going to be made even more difficult in the snow. When you're pushing the stroller, you want to try and keep it close to your body and push with your legs again. It always comes back to the same thing, using your legs over your shoulders. So if you have it pushed out, it's the same thing as when you're holding your baby. You're creating more strain on your shoulders, more strain on your back. But if you have it kind of closer to you, it's easier to use your legs to use your strength there. So that's another way that you can help to take care of yourself a little bit. Do you guys have any questions about any of the things we talked about or anything else just potentially you think could be occupational therapy related?
Well, I'm thinking of car seats.
Mm-hmm.
And because moms are often, I mean, they're carrying a diaper bag and they're carrying the car seat, and as baby gets, it doesn't take much for that weight to increase week to week. And so what's the best way to handle that?
Yeah, I don't have a car seat with me, obviously, but how you want to do that is you want to, okay, so if you envision the car seats here and the handles kind of coming out this way, you want to loop your arm through the front of the car seat and grab under it. So you're not actually so the weight of the baby is actually to the side of you. It's not in front of you and bumping into your leg. You're holding one side of it. And then, Monica, can you help me kind of put this into words? There is a bit.
I was actually wondering, Ruth, if you want, I can actually show that YouTube video that we talked about.
Yeah.
So for that, I would just need you to enable me to share my screen. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly pull it up here, then I can show you guys. Oh, it said that you disabled it now.
Oh, it did? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, now you're sharing your screen. So if you
how do I stop? How do I do your?
There should be a thing at the top that says stop screen sharing, and then beside the screen sharing button, there should be almost like a little up arrow that says multiple people can share.
Really? On the top?
Or like on the bottom where you click the screen share button, there should be a button beside it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Multiple participants can share.
Yeah.
Right. There we
Perfect. There we go. Okay.
Ergonomic car seat carrying tip. This is our little baby doll Briley's helping us out today. So if we're not baby wearing, one thing that we can do in order to carry our car seat more efficiently would be to go ahead and turn the car seat kind of around. We can still see baby when we look down. If we're picking up from the floor, we want to make sure that we squat, and then that we put our arm through the carrier and turn our hand around and put it right where that joint of the arm meets the car seat, and then we lift up with our whole entire body, and we can see that my spine is way more in alignment than if I were to carry it the traditional way and kind of put that extra stress on my shoulder, hip, as well as that upper neck area. So I'm much more in balance and in line, and I can still look down and see baby. So we notice that I'm a little bit more wide than I would be if I were to carry the car seat the traditional way. So instead of going through a doorway straight ahead, I'm going to probably have to shimmy in kind of sideways. So we can open the door and kind of walk in sideways like this. So that's just a quick and easy way that you can make that change to make sure that you're ergonomically carrying your car seat. Share this with other moms and friends, okay?
That's good.
Mm-hmm. While we're still here, would you guys want to see the other one about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because not everybody received the email, so they didn't get the handout.
Exactly.
And so I'll just remind you guys that if you would like the handout or any other resources or anything that I can send you, please give me or send me your email address. I don't have everybody's. So if you did not get an email from me yesterday, that means I probably don't have your email. All right, so just send it to me.
Okay, and here's the other one.
Are you ready for the do's and don'ts of how to lift a baby out of a crib and not hurt yourself? Well, stay tuned. I've got my neighbors, John and Tiffany, volunteer their son, Oliver, and we're going to their house real soon. So check us out. All right, we're here with John, Tiffany, and Oliver. Hey, reminders.
Hey.
Why don't you, Tiffany, show us how you're putting him in and out of the crib, and we'll get right to it.
So I start with him on my hip, and then I kind of rotate him around like this. He's about 25 pounds, so it's not easy. And then I kind of awkwardly bring him down all the way.
Wow. That's painful.
Yeah, it hurts my back.
Yeah. And then how do you get him out?
And then usually I try to have him sit up, otherwise it's impossible. He can sit down all the way. Sometimes stand up. Here. And then I try to use my legs, but it's really hard.
Oh, you like some suggestions?
Yeah.
All right. Get to it. All right. So, all right, buddy. Okay. I think we would. Fibers. Why don't we use this little footstool here? We found this nearby. I think the great thing to understand is you want to use your crib as the base, right? So the grip is such a large base, and it just gives wider support. So that's what we're using. And we do this a little differently, but what I think is great is we can actually bump and use the crib as the base. So we're going to throw that right in. And if you want to take kind of like a good yoga, 1 second at a time, and just use the base. And I'm really leaning into the crib and down. And the next thing is, if your toddler can come and stand or get close to you, getting them back up is no different. I keep using a lot of the weight right here and using my legs. So I'll try that. There we go. All right. Throw that weight right in. That's great. That looks great. You want to have a soft back. And all, I feel her hamstrings are being used right now. So,
My calves.
and calves. Okay. Yeah. You really use those. All right. And really push in, really lean into the crib. Use that base. Should be against the wall. And then there. So how's that?
It's better.
Great. And that's the do's and don'ts of Dr. Lynn and Tiffany and Oliver. All right. Bye, revivers.
So you can see the second time there when she was putting down the baby, she kept him as close to her body for as long as possible. And then only when she was in the right position did she start to let him down. And then she was doing a similar thing there as in the lift I showed you, where you want to try and have as wide a support as base as possible. So she was putting her weight into the crib so it could take some of the pressure off of her back. When we were bending down, we had 3 points of contact. So we had the foot, our knee, and our other foot. So it's just giving us that more base of support. It increases our center of balance and just makes it a little easier to take on that weight.
And the exact same thing when she was taking the baby back out again, she first pulled the baby really, really close to her and then stood up. Because if you're holding your baby out here while you're trying to stand up, again, it's just really spread out too much. And then it puts more strain on your back to like pull it back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just kind of thinking about, you want things to be far apart, like at your feet and your base, but then things to be close together on your upper body. Mm-hmm. So just like, think of it like a triangle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody ever get sore feeding your baby? Let's say either breastfeeding or bottle feeding. Yeah. Where do you get sore?
In my shoulders and my neck.
Yeah, definitely the neck area.
Yeah, both of you.
Okay, yeah, so you're finding that neck's getting sore when you're bending down a little bit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Monica, do you have any specific tricks for that one?
I would just say it's really important to continue to stretch in like more than just like the quick, like you're just going to uncrinkle your neck a bit, like actually take a couple minutes to do some stretches to move your neck around. And like there's a lot of like really quick Google neck stretches. And even there will probably be ones out there for like while you're breastfeeding and such, so they can actually like focus in on the muscles that are being used. Yeah, we haven't been exactly taught directly anything regarding breastfeeding, which is actually kind of surprising, to be quite honest with you.
I sometimes see moms feeding their babies and they're kind of leaning over, or they're bringing their breast to their baby when really they should be bringing baby to their breast. So like you said in some of the other things you were saying, is as close to you as possible, and you want to lean back and you want to bring baby right to you, and not kind of hanging over them, or can you picture that?
Absolutely, yeah. So basically just kind of building off of those other things that we said.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
making sure that you yourself are in like a good chair or a good sitting area so that you're not slouched over more. And then, just basically thinking about like your shoulders should be back and down. And then that's how like you're holding your child, because that's the most neutral position for your shoulders and neck to kind of be in. And yes, it's really important to continuously like look back down at your baby to check on them to make sure that they're okay. But when you're not doing that, just kind of be a bit more personally aware of your body and just seeing like, okay, how am I doing? Just kind of got to quickly adjust myself and just kind of try to do that like at least like once or twice every single time that you're doing it. Just kind of
and certainly having pillow supports and things like that would be beneficial too, right?
Yeah.
That way you're not holding the baby's weight. You're actually resting baby on a pillow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it's not always easy. You're always on the go with baby and you can't always be in a comfortable spot, but when you can, just thinking about the support your chair is providing both to you and your arms when you're holding baby, like just like Ruth said, like you want those pillows for support. If you can have like a comfortable chair that actually provides support for your back. Again, I know this isn't always possible depending where you're at, but if you can do it more often than not, then it is going to make that difference. Like a lot of times with babies, it's not just like that one time you did something that hurts you. It's the building up over time. So the more times you can have that proper like posture, the more benefit it's going to provide you.
Good.
Any other areas that you find you are hurting, or you notice your back or other areas are sore?
Or any other questions for our OT students?
A question I have is, are there any like stretches recommended to help with the shoulder or neck area? Like anything that we can do before we feed or play with them on the ground or anything?
Like one thing that you can just think about doing is, this isn't necessarily so much a stretch, but it's just helping to put your body back in alignment. So when you're thinking about your proper posture, you want to think about putting your chin back, shoulders back and down, bringing your hips so that your like back is straight. And this is helping to like facilitate this S curve that you have. So a lot of times we have our neck forward. Like I know sitting at a computer all the time, like my neck is always down and forward. And I'm sure it's the exact same thing when you're feeding your baby. So just kind of focusing on bringing that neck back. Anything else specific you have, Monica?
I was going to say that in a sense isn't necessarily a stretch, but almost like you feel sore after you do it anyway, because our bodies are so used to doing this. So in a sense, it's almost actually a stretch in itself.
Yeah.
And other than that, I'd say that just kind of make sure that you are like taking a bit of time just to move your body, even just around, just like move your joints around a little bit, just to get like, again, the circulation flowing again to all of your limbs. And yeah, just make sure you're taking care of yourself. But
yeah, and just taking that time to be really mindful when you're stretching. So a lot of your time, I'm sure, is focused on your kid and everything that you have to be doing on the house, around the house. So just taking time to kind of move your body and really like paying attention to nothing but how it is feeling in your body and how that's working. It can really be both beneficial for your body, but also just for like your mind and your mental health, and just taking that time to like, it's not quite meditating, but it's the same idea, right?
mm-hmm.
And I think I would add one thing here is, if you have a lot of stress in your life, your body is just naturally going to be more tense, right? And just to be aware of that, like you were saying, Allie, just to be aware of how your body's feeling and where are you tense, and then being intentional about, kind of relaxing those areas, I think might help.
Yeah, there's a really good app. It's called the Calm app, and it's by a Clinic with a K. And it has a couple of different mindfulness activities that you can take you through. But one of them is the body scan. So it helps you to like think about how you're feeling in each like part of your body. So you're just like going from your toes to your head, I believe, and just kind of noticing how everything's feeling. And then again, it's providing that mind and body experience that just kind of helps you to relax and like kind of figure out what's going on. And just it's important to take even just 5-10 minutes to yourself.
Really important.
Yeah, it's just enough to kind of understand kind of it's a guided meditation more or less is what it goes through. So like it tells you everything that you have to do. So even if you feel like you're like, I can't do mindfulness, I have no idea what that is, this actually like step by step goes through what to do. So it's really informative and it doesn't take very long, especially the body scan one, I believe. So yeah, it'd be really good even just to try out if you guys feel like you'd be ready to do it. And
is that one free? Do you know?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes,
well, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Sounds good. There's so many great apps out there.
There's another Calm app that's paid, but this one is, or I don't know, there's one that's paid. This one is free. It's by the Clinic.
Okay.
Yeah. Clinic with a K.
Yeah.
Good.
And then I just pulled up some stretches here. We had come up with them actually for our office ergonomics section, but they apply just as much to, I mean, stretching is stretching, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, my document's just being a little weird here. So, oh, what is going on? 1 second.
You want me to pull it up, Ellie, or you got it?
I think I've got it now. It's just taking its time loading.
Okay.
Okay. So these are kind of exercises that are meant for your desk. So if you're babysitting beside you or sleeping or whatever, you can do them in your chair. So again, hopefully you can kind of see me here, but just kind of bending down in your chair and reaching your hands towards the floor. So just kind of elongating the back a little bit. So that's kind of working on your lower and mid back. You can also take your hands and stretch them out behind you. So this is pulling your shoulders back again, like we mentioned, and stretching in here. Also just taking the time to twist, turning your head with your body. So you kind of want to keep your shoulders square, your head turning with it, and you can just kind of stretch out your back again. Another really good one for your neck is just bringing it down to the side, to your ear. You're never like going in a full circle. I think that's kind of been talked. You're not supposed to do that anymore, but just bring it to one side, bring it back up, and bring it back over. I know that's one I have to do all of the time. Also for your wrists, I'm sure they get sore holding baby, holding the bottle, holding everything you're juggling. So just kind of bringing your hands up like this and then pushing to one side, pushing back to the other. And yeah, you can just hold it there. And then even just bringing your hands out and stretching them and just like extending your fingers as far as you can. That's another one that I do a lot from typing, but it could also be really helpful for you. So that's just a few places to get started, but just listen to what your body is telling you and do things that feel good for it. Stretching should never hurt. You never want to feel pain when you're stretching. If it does, you should stop and you should kind of talk to your physician about that. But yeah, just do things that kind of feel good.